Welcome to Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy, where we go well beyond the corporate playbook to unpack major opportunities, hidden challenges, and critical issues that senior retail leaders face every day. So let's get started right now.
Welcome to a very, very special edition of Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. And it is a very special episode, actually a series of episodes. Over the last year, dare I say, year and a half, almost two now, I have been in the process of writing a book. Probably about 4 years ago, I started the journey of writing one particular book, and it was called The Approachable Retail Leader. And I have a framework and everything for that. That book is going to be coming out soon, but that's not the book I want to talk about. There has been another book that is sort of a prequel, actually, to The Approachable Retail Leader. I'm not going to get into the title just yet. Actually, you know what? I will tell you the title. The name of the book is called The Retail Leader Paradox. What I wanted to do in a 3-part series is that I want to talk about the book writing process. I will talk about the book in due course, right? That's probably going to be another series of podcast episodes. But I wanted to talk about the book writing process as a leader, as someone who's been in leadership over 35 years. And why did I decide to do this? Why did I decide? Write a book, they say. It'll be easy, they say. Everybody has a book, they say. And and a lot of people do have a book. This book writing process has been exactly that. It has been a process. It has been something that I never thought that I would actually do. For those of you who know me, I have my older brother Stan. He's the oldest, I'm the youngest. So Stan is really the writer in the family. I have never been, the book writer per se. I remember when I first started our newsletter, Retail Leadership, or Worthy Retail Leadership, and the crux of my writing up until that point had been a lot of business writing, whether it was grad school, writing in grad school, reports, business reports, a lot of data and a lot of jargon within the retail or project management space, and a lot of that. Not so much the actual writing. There's a massive, massive difference. And I learned a lot about that from my writing coach. And I'll talk about her as well and the role she's had to play in that. So there are 3 parts to this series. The first part is entitled What I Thought This Would Be, meaning the book writing process. Part 2 is going to be what the book exposed. And then part 3 is going to be what I know now. I wanted to break it down in that way just because I think it'll help you understand my thought process, but it will also help you if you are thinking about writing a book. It will help you when you think about any big project that you're thinking about undertaking, right? It will help you sort of map out the journey and how you feel emotionally. My writing coach told me the process should extract every emotion, regret, success, and loss. You should feel vulnerable in a way like never before. I could probably stop the episode right there. I'm going to read it to you one more time, because if you plan to go down this route, this is what you should expect. My writing coach told me the process should extract every emotion, regret, success, and loss. You should feel vulnerable in ways like you have never been before. You can add a whole bunch of other emotions in there: fear, exposed, insignificant, not enough. You can put in almost any emotion that the human goes through when you are thinking about writing a book and when you actually start the process. So I want to talk a little bit about, I have some questions here that I'm just going to ask myself. I think that's the easiest way to do this. So once again, we are on part 1. What I thought this process would be. So question number 1, what did I think writing a book would be like before I actually started? Great question, Steve. What did I think the book writing process would be like before I actually started? I thought about the book writing process very similar to when I actually read a book. So I read a book with a very focused intent and purpose to get something out of it. I don't do a lot of, especially right now, I don't really do a lot of leisure reading. I should, but I did a lot of that, early on in my career. And so when I thought about the book writing process, I thought about the fact that I need to probably write in the same way that I read. Get that. I thought that I was going to have to write with the same way and format and ideas in which I read a book. I didn't realize that there was so much more to the process. When you are reading a book, you are immersed in the story. You are probably looking for solutions and ideas. And a lot of these things, you don't think about it. Really great writers have a way of transporting you into the story, and you uncover different things about characters, even about yourself as you're reading the book. I didn't necessarily think that deeply about the writing process, to be very honest with you. I thought it was going to be very similar to how I write my newsletter. I didn't think about it in that depth and breadth of context before I started. I said, well, this is going to be easy. I'm just going to tell people what the ideas are, and that's it, and explain it, give them some ideas, give them some solutions, some things to work through, and then boom, bada bing, bada boom, it's a done deal. That's really what I thought of the process before I started. Let me ask you something. What happens when the very thing that has made you successful as a leader, well, that thing, it starts to work against you? You work harder, you take on more, you stay involved in every little thing because that's what the company has always required of you. But more importantly, those are the things that get rewarded. But eventually, your team becomes too dependent on you. Your company becomes too dependent on you. You get passed over. They say you're too important to get promoted. The difficult conversations get delayed. Well, the pressure of your role, it follows you home. And leadership no longer feels the way you thought it would. That is the idea behind my upcoming book, The Retail Leader Paradox. It was written for experienced retail leaders and even companies. Those of you you're not broken, but you may be trapped in a way of leading that no longer serves you. This is not another book about becoming a leader. It's about becoming the leader your next level requires. If this is you, make sure you visit theretailleaderparadox.com, or you can also visit worthyretail.com/now and get on our waiting list. So question number 2, what part of this process surprised me the most? I had to get over sharing stories that didn't make me look great. Yeah. I initially, every time I wrote a different part of this book, different chapters, each one of these chapters have a story about myself. It doesn't really follow me. There follows a character, but there are initial aspects of my leadership journey at the beginning of these chapters, and then we move into the actual character who helps flesh out the ideas even more so than my journey probably could have. And so I was very surprised that as I was writing, I really started to share ideas and situations and even behaviors that didn't make me look so great. But I knew a lot of leaders, every leader goes through. And a lot of them don't want to talk about it. A lot of them don't want to say it out loud. And so that's probably that's been one of the biggest things that has surprised me about the process. The depth of storytelling that needed to take place. Well, this probably goes into number 3. Question number 3 says, where did I overestimate myself in this process? That's a good question. Where did I overestimate myself in the process? I think I overestimated my ability to write. I really did. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that hard. And it's not from a pompous perspective. It's from I write, posts. I write newsletters, and I write reports. I just can't be that much different. It can't be that much, different, right? It is night and day. It is night and day. And please understand, I'm not saying any of this stuff to scare you in the process. This is my own journey, and I hope you are able to get something out of this, and you're also getting a glimpse into the process. So when you read the book, if you listen to this, this podcast series, you're going to get a really good perspective as you're reading the book of what my thought process was and how I felt when I was writing different aspects of this book. So I am not saying any of this stuff to shame anybody or to make you feel bad if you want to write a book or to try to make this more difficult. But it is a difficult process. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my gosh, it's going to be so easy for you. You'll be fine. It is a tough process. So number 4, where did I underestimate myself? I think this is the point that I was trying to make earlier. The depth that I was able to go to. So did the first manuscript, rough draft, outline, rough draft. Then I wrote the first manuscript, and I got I was like, this is okay. This is good. And then I got a developmental editor to help me. That has been helping me with this. I'm on the second round of second revisions. And so what I realized was that my rough draft, my manuscript, I was telling, right? Just as I said earlier, I was just telling. And I was very quick to get to the point. I was very quick to get to the solution or the idea, the core idea. And what I realized what I was doing was that I was giving away the farm. I was giving away too much. What I've learned in this process is that you have to keep the reader reading. I mean, I thought about it from my own perspective when I found a book that I really loved. I mean, I couldn't put it down, right? It was just, that phrase, a page turner. And that has stuck with me and continues to stick with me as I go through this editing process. I haven't even gone through the copy or line editing perspective yet. That's going to be another 2-3 months, process, maybe more. I'm still working through the developmental side of things. I'll give you a great example. My writing coach has been doing this for a while. My brother, who's a writer, he's read a few chapters. My executive coach, he's read some stuff. And it was an email from my writing coach Sandra. And it was like chapters 1 and 2. And I wrote those, and this was after like 2 sessions of us from a developmental editing standpoint. It was just like rough sessions, rough for me because she was just very, very plain in where I needed to go. And it was rough for me because I was like, oh man, this is all new to me and I got to figure this thing out. And so I really took my time to go back through chapters 1 and 2. And she sent me an email and it said, Steve, I don't like these chapters. You know, I don't like your revisions. And there was like a long, and then it was like a whole bunch of blank space after that. And she said, I love them. And I was just like, oh, thank you, God. I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you, God. It was like, getting a verbal, you got this type of deal. And I felt like I knew I was onto something. Once she gave me that vote of confidence. And so there you go. So question number 5. Oh, what chapter or idea fought me the most? Oh, wow. What chapter or idea fought me the most? So the book is broken down into 3 parts per se. There are the issues. I gotta give them away too much. There are the issues that the leaders go through, myself and the main character. Then there is part 2, and I will just say that part. No, excuse me. That part. Yeah, part. No, there's part 1 of the book, chapter 1 and 2. Then there's part 2, which is the ideas and issues that the leaders go through, that I go through and I talk about. And then part 3 is the consequences of those issues. And then part 4 is what we entitled the shifts. These are the things that, as a leader, if you are focusing in on these things, they will help you deal with each one of these areas. And it's not a checks and balancing. It's not a checklist thing. It is like, if you are implementing these ideas and these shifts, these perspectives, you're able to self-identify a lot quicker. And I think the consequences part fought me the most because, initially I was like, I don't want to make people feel bad about dealing with these things, right? I don't want to make the leaders like, oh my, feel like they're beating themselves up and like, oh man. So I fought against adding that part. And I think my coach was like, no, you need to go and put that in there. And as I was continuing to go through this, I realized that is what I was fighting against, the consequences. Or even trying to talk to people about the consequences is one of the biggest issues that we have right now in leadership, is that no one wants to talk about the consequences, of our actions or of anything that we do. There are consequences to them, and we can't lead without them. We can't lead without the consequences, right? That literally just came to me as I was thinking, as we were talking through this. You can't lead without consequences. There are things that are going to be inevitable. There are going to be decisions that you make that are just absolutely wrong. And there are consequences to that, right? And so I think we have to live with those situations, because if we don't, wow, we are, who are we as a leader? What type of accountability and credibility and character do we have if we don't understand and realize that there will be consequences to our actions one way or the other? So I think that has probably been the biggest part of the book initially that I fought against, was adding that, and I'm glad I did, because I think it's a very poignant part of the book, and I think a lot of leaders are going to see themselves in those consequences, or they're going to need to see themselves, dealing with some of these consequences that that are results for some of their behaviors or some of the things that they've gone through. Well, thank you so much for joining this episode. The book is still being written, but the conversation has already started. If there's something small in this episode, something big in this episode that made you think differently about your own leadership, that's important. And I want you to stay connected to the journey. So make sure you visit theretaileaderparadox.com to learn more about the book. You can join our wait list and also follow what comes next. Because here's the thing. Sometimes the issue is not that you've stopped leading. It is that the way you have always led may no longer be enough. So thank you for joining us. Have a great day, and God bless.